Have you ever come across an item in Skyblock and thought to yourself, this has got to be the most pointless, useless item I've ever seen? Well, today it's time to take a look at those items and figure out why they are so pointless. You see, when it comes to pointless or useless items, there's two types of pointless or useless. There's items that literally have no purpose at all, and there's other items that have a purpose and might actually be decent, but in comparison to other items that might be a very similar price, they're absolutely pointless and useless, and for that reason obsolete. But today we'll explore a variety. At the moment, Diana is the mayor, and one of those perks that Diana has is a mythological ritual, her main perk. The mythological ritual basically is just a bit of an event, whereby you teleport around with an ancestral spade, spawn up some mobs, and try to kill them. For instance, an Inquisitor can drop something like a Chimera book, which is the best drop realistically you can get from Diana, and sells for about 120 million coins. Other items like the pet item, the Dwarf Turtle Shelmet, drops from Diana, and even other items like the Minus Relic. When taking part in Diana, a lot of people turn to the Daedalus Axe, which is essentially a custom-made weapon for Diana. The main perk for Diana being that it deals plus 200% damage against mythological creatures and minus followers. Daedalus Axes sell for 30 million coins. Now, I guess with pretty much everything in Skyblock, there is some sort of progression within a certain area. For example, for Revenants, you have the Revenant Falchion, which upgrades into the Reaper Falchion, which ultimately upgrades into the Axe of the Shredded. Each weapon being a little bit better than the last, and also increasing in price. Same with Enderman Slayer, you've got the Void Walker Katana, the Void Edge Katana, the Vorpal Katana, and then ultimately the Atom Split Katana. Each katana better than the last, and each katana more expensive than the last. Well, there is actually some sort of progression within Diana. Of course, ultimately you have the Daedalus Axe, which is the best weapon you can use in the mythological event. But prior to that, there's also the Sword of Revelations, which is very interesting. The Sword of Revelations has very similar stats to the Daedalus Axe. It also has a very similar perk, meaning that you deal plus 200% damage against mythological creatures and minus followers, which is the same as the Daedalus Axe, but you receive plus 75% damage from them, meaning that you almost take double damage. Now, of course, this is quite a big drawback. Who's going to pay 23.4 mil for this weapon? It's virtually the same as the Daedalus Axe, other than, I mean, a lot of the time you will see something like this, but you'll deal plus 100% damage rather than 200. Therefore, the weapon ends up being cheaper, but it's not even that much cheaper. Have you ever seen anyone using this weapon? Because I personally didn't even know it existed until today. I've got to say, I think it's one truly pointless weapon. It really is. If you have 23.5 mil to spend on this, then you most definitely have 30 mil to spend on a Daedalus Axe. And why would you buy this? Why would you take double damage, almost? Truly pointless. But as I mentioned, this is a weapon whereby it would be decent, because it's going to deal a decent amount of damage. It just doesn't make any sense to buy it. It's just obsolete. And, you know, with other things in the game, there's not really any clear progression either. There's not really any difference in requirements, and the price is virtually the same too. Anyway, if you're planning on purchasing anything from the Hypixel store, make sure to use code NITROS. It gets yourself 5% off. Also, you should subscribe to the channel. It would help out a lot. And you should also join the Discord server. It's linked in the description of this video. We offer Slayers and Dungeon carries, so if you need carries or want to carry and make some coins, you should join. Okay, so next up we actually have a weapon that used to contribute towards a ridiculously good money making method back in the day. I remember it must have been a good at least 2 or maybe even 3 years ago now. I remember when I first started playing Skyblock, watching a video of somebody doing this method, so let's take a look. So this next item is obtainable from the Jake NPC, found at the top of this mountain at Jake's house, of course in the Mushroom Desert. And this item is the Rabbit Axe. Its ability is killing a rabbit increases its drops by 2. And you might think, how could this ever have been good, and why is it so pointless now? Well, I guess that's probably self-explanatory. First of all, I have a question. Who do you ever see going around farming rabbits? Yeah, exactly. Nobody. So having an axe that increases your drops from rabbits by 2, in that case, is completely pointless because no one's going to use it. However, that's not always been the case. You see, when you're fishing, you can fish up rabbits. Those rabbits have a chance to drop the lucky clover. So that essentially means that back in the day when this used to work, using a rabbit axe to kill these rabbits means that if you did drop a lucky clover, you would be guaranteed to drop 2. The price of these lucky clovers at the moment is 7.5 mil, but back then they were up over 20 million coins. meaning that potentially from killing one rabbit, you could earn yourself about 40 mil. For those of you who don't know, a lucky clover is basically just a pet item that gives you magic find. But to be honest, at this point, that is all irrelevant, because they made it so, when you kill one of those rabbits that you fish up, with the rabbit axe, it no longer means that your drops are doubled. Meaning that the rabbit axe literally has no use. Like I said again, I was going to say again, who do you see farming rabbits? Anyway, on to the next. When you farm ghosts, there's really only 2 reasons for doing so. Number 1, and the main reason, is for coins, because of the sorrows that you drop. The second reason will be for combat XP, because ghosts give quite a lot of combat XP, so potentially it's just for leveling up your combat, or leveling a pet. Like I said, the main reason people grind ghosts is for money. You drop sorrows, and you can make upwards of 20 mil an hour. Along with sorrows, you can drop other things like Volta. You can also drop Plasma in the legendary loot pool, which is a 0.1% chance of dropping. But as you can see, the RNG drop from ghosts are ghostly boots. It is 0.01% drop chance. That drop chance being 20 times that of something like Volta, 10 times that of Plasma, and 12 times that of Sorrow. So you've got to be thinking, well, something with that low of a drop chance, in comparison to everything else, has got to be pretty good. Well, in actual fact, they don't do anything. They actually don't do anything. Ghostly boots. Tells you the colour. Boots made of pure ghost essence. So all of that for 2 million coins. And not only that, they actually don't do anything at all. You might as well wear nothing on your feet, because that's the same effect that you're going to get. The only use that these boots have is to put in the museum, and that is it. And it is very rare to actually find a Skyblock item which has literally no use. This does. I think it's just a bit of a con, considering this is the rarest drop from ghosts. I don't know. Let me know what you think. Now, talking of items that have literally no use, how about an endstone rose? Doesn't do anything. It literally does nothing. Like, quite literally nothing. Now, an endstone rose is obtainable when you kill an endstone protector in the end. And while the end isn't really much of a challenge to pretty much anyone in Skyblock at this point, back in the day it definitely was. When the end was introduced, I'm sure there was... people still do grind endstone protectors, but even more so back in the day. And to have one of the main items that drop, literally having no purpose, it's just a bit weird. You see, a lot of the times when you get a drop and you think, oh, that's not very good, the reason why I think it's not very good is because basically what you're able to do with that item, i.e. if it is just a piece of armor or a weapon, it's not very good. But it at least still does something, it still serves a purpose. Or, on the other hand, maybe it sort of is using a crafting recipe to craft something that just isn't very good, but it still serves a purpose. Whereby ghostly boots do nothing, and endstone roses also do nothing. Pretty weird. Anyway, let me know what you think to these pointless items in the comments. I'm sure there's many more pretty pointless items or useless items in this game that I've missed, so if there are, please let me know in the comments. Anyway, if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.